Hi, welcome to our show. Today, we are continuing the series on Let's Stop the Violence. We are going to talk today about domestic violence. I am not a victim. Domestic abuse can come in different forms. It does not matter what age, race, or gender you are. Many people who are being abused do not consider themselves as victims. Abusers do not view themselves as being abusive. Teenagers who are being abused are not mature enough to handle it. One thing you should know is domestic violence can come in different forms. I would like to welcome my guest, Miss Catherine or Kathy Upshire, and she's going to talk to you about domestic violence. I am not a victim. She is going to recite a poem, The Imposter.
Who's the woman in my mirror staring back at me? I see her every morning, but I don't like what I see. She wormed her way into my life, oh, so gradually. And no one seemed to notice. She's impersonating me. She seeks the approval of others. She tries to win their love. She tries to prove her worthiness. What is she thinking of? She gave away my power and all my self-respect. My worst enemy she became, not this one, the other one, or that. She robbed me of my figure by gaining 50 pounds, by using food to comfort her when no one was around. The things I said I wouldn't do, I said I'd never allow. This woman knew just how I felt, but did them anyhow. How could I have let this happen, or even let this be? How could I have let this people pleaser masquerade as me? She has my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my butt, my legs, my feet. But something's wrong, and I'm telling you, this woman isn't me. Help somebody, help me now. Contact the CIA. I want this woman investigated, charged, and taken away. Sentence her to life in prison and throw away the key to ensure this woman will never, ever show up somewhere as me.
Kathy, what motivated you to write that poem?
Well, I tell you, my motivation for writing this poem is that sometimes we as women, we look in the mirror one day and find that we don't like what we see, and that we don't even recognize the woman that's there. And we find that we have done some things that we thought we would never do. And so this poem is about that, looking in the mirror and getting in touch with our authentic self and the woman that we used to be before life happened and all of what life is about, and kind of regain who you are and reclaim your self-esteem and to walk in your majesty as queens again.
I love that poem. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was raised in Chicago. I went on to go to college, and I graduated from college. I got married very young, at the age of 24, and I have 3 beautiful children. And I got married at the age of 24, and I was married for approximately 16 years. So it was a long time.
So tell me about your marriage and in your marriage, how soon did violence manifest in your marriage, I should say?
Okay. Actually, it manifested almost right away. There was
Really?
no violence, yes, within about, I want to say maybe about 4 months. But it was just, something very simple, something as simple as a slap. And so being a young woman as I was, I didn't really see that for what it was. But I was married for 16 years, and it manifested very early on. Very early on.
Is
Yes.
that right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, I know you have done the poem, uh, and which I love those. But what are the different types of domestic abuse?
Okay.
Tell us about those.
Okay, that's an interesting question because uh, there is a physical abuse, and many times people associate abuse with the physical aspect. But then there is emotional abuse, and that deals with a person who kind of plays with your emotions to make you feel less than what you are, ignore you, deny love, and all kinds of things that is going to tap into your feelings and make you feel really, really bad emotionally. Demeaning things to demean you. It's all about having an uproar in your emotions as a woman.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so you have the sexual abuse, also that.
Yeah, there's
And the emotional, you said, and the psychological.
psychological. There's also verbal. Verbal abuse, that's the where you can attack, and there's a saying, and I think you said that we were talking when I first talked with you. You talked about the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, can never hurt me." But the fact is that words they go very deep.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're very harmful. And so when you have an individual who is constantly insulting you as a woman and picking at you and saying things that are belittling to make you unsure about yourself and kind of picking at your self-esteem verbally. That's very abusive.
Absolutely.
And then also there's the mental abuse, making you feel like it's all your fault. No one loves you. No one would ever believe you if you tell it. And things like that, that you play on that person's, play on them mentally. And that's also abusive as well.
Oh, boy. Now, what are some characteristics of an abuser?
Okay. This is a good question, Dr. Mason, because most of the time there are characteristics and things that you can look for before you get into the relationship seriously, before it goes on to marriage or a significant other or partner. One is extreme jealousy and possessiveness. And we're talking on an extreme level where they're checking your phone calls to see who you called.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Checking your email to see who you're emailing. Calling you at work to see if you're there, if you said you had to work late. Or calling to see if you're there in the first place. If you go to be out with your friends or go over your family's house, doing things like checking to see if you're over there. Things like that. Or if you're a teenager and you're in school, following you around, checking to see if you're in a class because of the fact that you're very jealous. That's a red flag. Also, seems to, that this person is too good to be true. Now, this one is a really, really good one because many times abusers know that they are abusers, and so they do things to overcompensate for that, to cover it up. And so they're extra, nice.